Yo, what is up, guys? X Spartan 1000 here, back with some more Star Ocean and Divine Force. And this time we're going to be talking about a build for Nina. Nina is definitely one of my favorite party members to have in this game because of all the support she offers the group. And this is going to be useful for you whether you're playing a long range character, some sort of assassin that's sort of in and out of the fight, a tank, or just like a bruiser where you got like a lot of ATK, but you also have a lot of a defense at the same time. Nina is going to be able to increase your attack power, increase your magic defense, and your flat defense score as well. She also has abilities that like block out projectiles and stuff. It's very crazy. One of the first things I want to say about Nina before we start to look at the actual trees is that what she starts off with when you're looking at her status, her actual stats, Guts, which is the magic defense, it's the highest stat that she has. It'll be higher naturally above everything else. And then as you look at her tree, as you slap on upgrades, you'll see that the Guts will be higher than anything else. And I think it's because she's supposed to have this down. Since she's a magical support, she's supposed to be able to reduce a lot of incoming magic damage to herself. But she can also get very tanky in terms of defense as well. And then, of course, elemental resistance is in there as well. So let's click into her trees and start looking at the actual mapping of it. So Nina has potential for damage as well. There's so you can see she has the int, but it's not her forte. You should leave the magic damage to Midas and Albert, and really focus her towards being this tanky support. So what I started off doing was I prioritized Guts over everything. Because in the beginning of the game, there started to become a bunch of ads that were dropping tornado moves. It's towards that rocky region near Delric. Having this is great because while it'll do a lot of damage, the magic damage will do a lot of damage to Raymond, Leticia, and Albert, it won't do anything to her. So I just start pathing downwards, getting the Guts, getting these first four in this panel. And then when I started to move down here, I seen that you can get Pledge. Pledge is going to increase the magic resistance for everyone at 25% for 6 seconds. That's pretty huge. So, and when it's the computer casting this, they will cast this stuff just before the spell is about to hit you, or when they see an enemy casting a spell. So by the time it does hit, it doesn't do anything. Her effects do stack, so you can also set up combos to where she just keeps spamming this anyway. If you find yourself going into a fight where you're just taking hella magic damage, you could have her just spam out magic resistance, and then everybody is just, not taking any damage at all for free. Then you'll have to pick this in up because it's in your way. For an active skill, grab Purification, of course, just to go down, but this is pretty good because you could clear status elements without using Aqua Berries. But so far, status elements haven't been too egregious in this game. Not even the poison. There's poison currently where I'm at in the campaign, and I kind of just run through it. Because once you have first aid and auto healing, and then Nina actually just healing, it kind of cancels out the poison entirely. And then Aqua Berries, for the most part, you'll always have a whole bunch of them, whether it be through drops or just buying them. You'll come down and pick up this int again, pick up another int, grab these 3 health tokens, and then make your way over to this. Reverberate is the next important ability that you want to prioritize. This is going to let you resurrect your teammates, and it is multiple people. I believe it does do 3 people. I've never had 3 people down at once and Nina alive by herself, but you got to figure if she's you're building her to be tanky for physical damage and magic resistance. If a boss does come at you with a crazy one-shot move, she'll be the one to res everybody. It's a fairly quick animation, and there are things to reduce her threat level, so Az will straight up ignore her and she'll be able to get this res off. Very powerful. It'll help you save on fresh stages as well. The next, or honestly, you could probably take it first if you're not really worried about your characters dying. You can do Tingling Chimes. Now, Tingling Chimes is another version of the others of our healing spell. Her flat healing spell, she starts with it at the beginning. And basically, it's an AoE around her, and it'll heal people, which kind of serves as a pocket healer until you get to this point. She's going to follow you around and heal you wherever she's at, so you kind of have to stay where she is at first. But once you get Tingling Chimes, she can place the heal farther away from herself and then leave the zone. And your teammates will be getting the heals. And if you just have her set up to do this, you'll be in the fray as Raymond, and then you'll just see some heals come on your screen, which is a lot better than her having to put herself in harm's way to heal you up. So you want to get Tingling Chimes as your third battle skill. From that point on, I did grab Tempered Metal. Tempered Metal isn't... I mean, it kind of is important because at the same time, it's so opposite to the Guts ability, Pledge, you're going to be getting a bunch of physical damage resistance, which is good. But at the same time, most of the warrior characters like Raymond, they already have pretty high defense levels. I know the characters are at level 36, but if the character is hovering 200 defense at level 20, you're doing very good. And even if you're in the late hundreds or approaching 200, you're doing good. And once you hit 300, you're doing very well. And I don't even focus defense on Raymond, and he still ends up having a lot as he levels up because he's a warrior. Same thing with Leticia. She has a lot of defense in her trees, and Elena also has a lot of potential for that as well. That spell is mainly for people that are like squishies like Albert, and I suspect some of the other characters in the game, Midas and probably Marielle. But yes, you can grab that as well. It could be used in combos. And then after that, you want to prioritize as many of the Guts stat boosters as possible. Make your way completely all the way over here. I didn't grab Solo yet because I don't think it's necessary. Projectiles are not like rampant in the game at the moment, so it's kind of important to make the most out of the SP that you get right away. And that's why I'm grabbing a whole bunch of stats first, because if your character is all around better than the ads, you won't have to worry about like a bunch of situational stuff. Especially when you're building something like magical damage resistance. When she gets hit with AoE spells, it's doing virtually nothing. This passive skill is huge. Longer punishment extends the duration of status ailments you inflict. The longer the duration, the more you can stack. So you want to grab this, especially for like hostile status effects you can apply, and then of course the ones you apply to your teammates. And that's all happening passively. You don't have to equip this. Or sorry, you will have to equip it to your passive skill list, but you won't have to add it to your combos. Next, you could grab some of the hearts, but I wouldn't say go up to the top just yet. The upper portion of her tree kind of imitates a damage, sort of, or sort of stun heavy playstyle. But what would be arguably more important than that would be to go to the left side of her tree to grab some physical defense, because melee monsters are going to be able to do some serious damage to her, especially if you're playing on universe level and you don't have any physical damage at all, because most enemies in the game deal physical damage. So, or at least up at this point, that is. So go ahead and grab as many of the physical damage shields as possible. Grab auto healing as a passive skill. This thing is just so good. I mean, she's standing still, dropping heals as well. So she's going to be recovering health over time while she's giving health over time. So she'll be healing faster than everybody in the group. So you want to keep her healthy too, because she's keeping the group healthy. Hide was that ability I was talking about earlier that'll reduce her threat level. However, it has to be activated, and I believe this is better if you're controlling Nina. I would not recommend putting Hide on if you're not controlling Nina. She might use it at an inappropriate time, and you'll be waiting for a heal that is not coming. And we all know the blueberry potion blueberry item cast time is pretty long, and you can get interrupted. So probably don't take Hide unless you're controlling Nina. Secondly, what I'd say is I'd grab these elemental resistances. I started grabbing a few. I grabbed the confusion one because I don't want her to just stop acting or start casting stuff the wrong way. I don't know if she can give status elements to enemies, but you know, in other games like Final Fantasy that could happen. So I wanted to grab Confuse first, but feel free to grab the other ones as well, like for poison if you're worried about poison, or earth. Lastly, I would say start to pass up for extra HP because HP is important. I do typically prioritize damage reduction percents, like the DEF or guts, over just straight health, because straight health doesn't matter if you can't reduce anything. That's why I built all the reduction stats first, and now I'm coming for the health last. Um, Her final abilities up here are leading more towards a damage output side of her. I will cover this later on in a more advanced build for Nina, but for the early game, like from level 20-ish to 37, this would be a good pathing for you. So to sort of kind of recap the pathing, starting out, you want to come over to Tempered Metal, then make your way down to Pledge, then eventually make your way down to Reverberate, because this is your res spell, so you don't have to worry about fresh sages anymore. And then you can hover over to the right and grab Tingling Chimes. This will let her place a heal away from her, so she doesn't have to pocket heal people all the time. So, because if you have a split focus party group or a free form fighting style, then she'll be able to heal people without having to choose who to run to. And yeah, basically just rush defense and guts, and your Nina will be killing it in no time. Next, we'll transition into passive skills. So you also want to pick up First Aid in there. We grabbed Longer Punishment, and then we grabbed Auto Healing. Longer Punishment, increasing those status ailments, extending the duration of them, and allowing you to stack more of them. Auto Healing, this is more regen for her, sustainability. First Aid, she has a certain chance to heal some HP when taking damage. This is really good. I doubt they'll be able to deal that much damage to her, but it's still nice to have some sort of fail-safe anyway. Moving into the combos. Now the combos are kind of tricky. I guess it kind of depends on, you'll have to gauge this based on how the damage is coming into your party. So I think it's a good idea to start off with Tingling Chimes, because this is you healing in just a flat circle if you're just all focusing one target and you want her to follow behind you. So she'll drop that heal in front of you, and then I have her doing Cheer of Bravery. Now Cheer of Bravery is that damage boost I was talking about. She's bestowing 25% attack for 2 seconds and magic damage for 2 seconds. It also recovers 3 AP, which is pretty good, because if you're somebody who is having trouble with balancing out, or managing your stamina, she can help you do a lot better at that, because it'll just instantly give you some back. That's very good for bursting bosses or just mini bosses, just really powerful adds. Tempered Metal will be a nice thing to top it off with, because if the fight is going to become a long and grueling one, you want to put Tempered Metal on so you can start to eat some of those hits that you're not reacting fast enough to dodge, or if it's just a big AoE and you can't get out of the way in time. I highly recommend that you put Reverberate on a hold command and not in a combo, because it's not going to be often that you're going to be comboing into a stealth res, so it's better that you have this set onto a button, so that if you ever have to immediately switch to her, you'll switch to her and then just instantly res everyone. And then as for her secondary list of combos, we have Cheer Bravery. This is more of a rush the damage out to the enemies. You're going to start off using your damage buff, then you're going to go into your defense buff so that the fight can keep going, and then lastly heal any damage that they put into you. The reason why I have Pledge stationed on the hold feature is so that if you need to increase the magic resistance in a pinch, you can do that. Moving into the final list of commands, we have the healing spell variant, that where she can place it on people instead of pocketing towards some a specific group. Then I like to put the AoE one as well, just in case there's somebody next to her that also needs the heals, or if she needs them for herself. And then lastly, Cheer of Bravery again. I put Cheer of Bravery in every combo because you never know when you're going to need that extra boost of damage. And this is an insanely useful spell. I've had so many times where I'm loading up a heavy attack and then she puts Cheer of Bravery on and it does way more than I had intended. This effect also stacks with other activated skills that are going to buff your damage as well. Lastly, I put Purification on just in case we do have status ailments that are like really messing us up, like poison and so on, because then the computer can just prioritize taking that off if we have a lot of health. So basically, she is like a jack of all trades covering a wide range of support abilities. And it's crazy to think that this is probably how I'm going to keep Nina for the rest of the game. When I go to do an update for her build, it'll be more so towards, check and strengthening skills. The reason why I don't cover this portion earlier in the Raymond video and in this video is because it's better to go through your skill tree and set up the character's stats first so you can see how they ought to play. And then once you have all their stats really good, then you want to start upgrading specific moves. So I'll get into that at a later date for what I want to do with her skills and Raymond's as well. But that pretty much wraps up Nina's early game build. I hope you enjoyed it. I'm looking forward to pumping out one for Elena soon. I'll try to do that before this week is out because I want it to seem like more of an early game build than a mid delay. But if it ends up being mid delay, we'll probably just do that as well. But all right, guys. In the meantime, I will catch you all in the next Star Ocean broadcast.